Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I am here with a good friend, a friend who loves meat just as much as I. I don't know if as much. I think I love meat more, but I have JT with me today, and JT is the guy who leads a beautiful YouTube channel, the Poko Moonshine Family channel. I want you to check that out. I'll have a link in the show notes, but he's here with me today because he's also a guest on the Protecting Your Nest podcast. And today I want to pick his brain a little bit because when I was getting my training in nutrition and functional medicine, they insisted that kale was the most nutrient rich food you can eat on the planet. If you don't eat kale, something's wrong with you. And I want to contrast that to steak because we love ribeye and things like that. So, JT, what's your thoughts on this idea that kale is more nutrient rich and better for us than steak? What do you think, my friend?
Well, I know we're mostly made out of water, but me eating a food that's mostly made out of water, I don't think that's going to be the most nutrient thing that I can have. I look at kale and I think if I was Adam and Eve, it would barely cover my junk. I don't think there's much value in kale. Maybe in small bits, if you add it to here and there, there's nothing wrong with it. And if you do eat kale and it works for you, great, but I wouldn't just rely on kale. I would lean more towards some steak, especially some ribeye or something it has a lot of nutrients in it. That something that's going to give you protein, be healthy for you. But kale, it just seems like it's mostly packed full of water. And
Yeah.
I've already got a bunch of water. I had to get rid of a bunch of water weight on the carnivore diet, so I don't think I need too much more than what I'm already drinking right here in my cup.
That's what I'm talking about, and I got a little water in my cup as well, and I'll tell you, man, when I was in my training, I really couldn't believe how much they didn't understand the nutrients in meat, and it's true that kale does have, vitamin K, vitamin A, folate, calcium, and if you look it up, it'll probably have more than the meat on the surface, right? And the meat may have more potassium, saturated fat, iron, and things like that. Maybe B vitamin, selenium. But this is the catch: how much of that is actually being absorbed, right?
Hmm.
And the reality is, if you take iron, for example, only 3% is absorbed in things like kale and spinach, and 35 or so percent is absorbed in meat like steak and things like that. So you're not going to absorb most of those nutrients in the plants because of things that we are familiar with. And those things are called anti-nutrients. And for those who are not familiar, when you think of things, if you hear the term lectins, which tend to impact the protein absorption, you think about oxalates, which tend to impact mineral absorption, and things called phytates, which can affect electrolytes like phosphorus and others. Those things in the plants actually inhibit the absorption, and therefore you don't get what you think you're going to get out of it. So I always tell people that the nutrients in protein are more bioavailable. You don't have to deal with these anti-nutrients, and to be honest with you, a steak just tastes better. So don't be afraid of steaks. No concerns about saturated fat. In fact, saturated fat is protective against stroke. It's not causing heart disease. That's from the Journal of the College of Cardiology. And don't worry about cancer. That's been debunked. The World Health Organization didn't get that right. So I would eat as many ribeyes as you can, like me and my friend JT. So if you want to hear more from JT, I want you to check out our episode of the Protecting Your Nest podcast. I'll have a link to that. And I appreciate you guys hearing our voices today as we get ready to enjoy a steak later today. Thank you for coming to this video. And until the next video, continue to be safe, be well, and continue to protect your nest.